You have unread texts from Golf Buds. Would you like me to read them?
Yes.
Okay. Johnny says, what are the nicotine pouches you had on the course? Walker says, 8 milligram on nicotine pouches. Billy says, I love the mint one.
I like that one.
Walker says, me too. By the way, you both stink at golf. LOLOL.
Come on. Carry on nicotine pouches. Shop now at onnicotine.com/group text. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
It is time to leave your worries outside and laugh with us inside the treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trinholm today, Monday, February 17th, 2025. Hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day and Valentine's weekend. If you did Valentine's Day properly, then it should have carried over into the weekend some, which means you might be dragging ass a little bit today on Monday. And if so, good on you. Trey, you and I know a number of police officers based on our broadcast careers and the fact that we run a 501c3 that benefits families of fallen police officers and firefighters. We know quite a few police officers. And because of knowing a number of them, they're not as in these intimidating figures. To us, police officers are not the intimidating figures that they can be to everybody else.
True.
Because once you get to know them on a personal and an individual level, some of that scariness or the mystique rubs off, especially when you see some of them drunk.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you get pulled over or I get pulled over, I'm not as nervous or anxious as I used to be. Now it's more like, hey, and you know, still get your ticket or whatever, typically. But it's not such an intimidating situation. It's also not scary to talk to police officers when you're not doing anything illegal. But if you are doing something illegal, maybe don't talk to the cops.
Seems like solid advice.
Seems like it, but not everyone has heard that advice, Trey. Especially two men that recently were arrested by police because all they did in their mind was ask for directions.
What could go wrong there?
What's that?
What could go wrong?
I'm glad you asked. Two idiots in Missouri pulled over to ask police for directions. Their names, Aaron Reagan and Alan Richards, both 27. They pulled up next to police officers on January 31st and asked them, how do we get to Osage Beach? They were already at Osage Beach. It's actually a town, not a beach, but if you're going to roll up two police officers and say, hey, how do we get to Osage Beach? And the officers look at one another and say, you're already in Osage Beach. It's going to be a little suspicious. So that's when the officers thought, you know, these two guys may not be 100% sober. And it gets worse because
it's the Midwest. So I feel like meth has to be involved.
If you are high on meth, don't ask cops for directions, especially when you're asking for directions to a town that you're already in. Also, don't ask cops for directions if you're high on meth. If you're high on meth, don't ask fuck me. Sorry, I'll hit that in post. If you're high on meth, don't ask police officers for directions to a town that you're already in. One more caveat to that. Don't do it if those police officers are in the middle of training the new drug dogs.
Well, that's a trifecta.
It really is. That is a trifecta of stupid, and that's why we started today's show with it. Both men are now facing drug possession charges. I'm going to assume that their attorney will recommend a plea bargain, just pleading no contest to that one. But that is pretty solid.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
Yeah.
Probably not a first offense.
Probably not. The police that they stopped to ask for directions happened to be there doing a training session for drug dogs. So they brought over a dog, and the dog immediately flagged an illegal substance, and the officers found 2 grams of meth. And now both men are facing drug possession charges. The Ozarks. Never let you down.
No,
I still have a scar on my knee from the Ozarks. Not from meth, but just because I, hit a rock with my knee. That's my only experience with the Ozarks. My one and only attempt at trying to water ski, and I ended up with a scar. No meth, so I guess good on me.
Well,
beautiful area, though.
Yes, it is. And
so
once again, thanks for clarifying how you got scars on your knees.
Yeah, because I imagine that scars on knees for men in the Ozarks might be for different reasons than mine.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on how. It depends on how much you want some meth.
Yeah.
You're in the treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
If you love guns or hunting, you're going to love Defender Outdoors. Defender Outdoors Shooting Center is 43,000 square feet of guns, gun range, and gun fun. Firearms, ammo, apparel, accessories, and more. Have a bachelor party, birthday, or team building event? All-inclusive packages available for endless entertainment. Training classes are added weekly, and private instruction is always available. Come see why Defender has been voted the best gun range in North Texas 5 years in a row. Visit us at defenderoutdoors.com. Defender Outdoors. Are you a defender?
You're in the treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Defender Outdoors Shooting Center and Clay Sports Ranch. The Shooting Center in Fort Worth, it is DFW's premier indoor gun range, open to the public. Memberships are available. Same thing with the Defender Outdoors Clay Sports Ranch as well, open to the public, but there are memberships available. At Defender Outdoors, you've got 6,000 square feet of retail space stocked with your favorite firearms, ammo, gear, optics, knives, and more. Be sure when you go to Defender Outdoors, whether it's online or in store, use the code TREEHOUSE to unlock special discounts. That's code TREEHOUSE to unlock special discounts at our brand new sponsor, Defender Outdoors in Fort Worth. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trinholm, inside the Treehouse with you. We talked a while back that a number of schools have or are in the process of banning Crocs because apparently kids today are so stupid they can't be trusted to walk in rubber shoes. That's where we are now as a society. And this phenomenon is not really a phenomenon anymore. It's actually spreading to more and more schools. And it's just happened again at a school district in Alabama. And the local news at this high school in Alabama, they went, talked to the students, and they talked to the principal about banning Crocs. Why, the dangers, and of course, students' reactions to it. So I want to share this with you now. Schools in Alabama are the next wave to ban Crocs in schools. Right.
It's just a safety hazard. Man, they can twist their knees, twist their ankles, things like that. So you won't have tennis.
So this is Principal Stoney Pritchett of one of the Alabama schools that is banning Crocs. And then after the principal speaks, you're going to hear one of the students who got suspended for wearing Crocs at school, and you'll hear her reason to why Crocs are safe.
It actually is a safety hazard. Man, they can twist their knees, twist their ankles, things like that. So you won't have tennis shoes on all the time.
If it's an emergency, we can still wear our Crocs because we can put them in sports mode and we can run.
You can't go on a basketball court and go side to side, lateral, and jump up and down.
Sports mode.
Sports mode on the Crocs. And she actually demonstrates it because the Crocs do have two modes. They have that little ankle strap, right?
Uh-huh.
You can have that down for sports mode, as they call it, or she calls it, or you have it up, I guess, for kick back and relax mode. But yeah, she says in the case of an emergency, if she needs to run, she can just slide that little doodad down, and now she's in sports mode and she can run wherever she needs to.
Wonder Crocs, just tap them together and they magically transform into sports mode, and off you go. I don't know if that's going to be in an emergency. I don't know if that's the first thing you're going to think about, but
yeah, most people don't realize this, but SEAL Team 6 always in Crocs.
Yeah.
When Bin Laden was taken out, they were wearing Crocs.
Well, and that's how they know they're about to go into action. They go into sports mode.
If it's good enough for the Navy SEALs.
And they check their weapons, and the last thing, it's how they activate their powers. Crocs in sports mode.
And who knows better than the United States Navy SEALs about kicking back and relaxing or sports mode?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. This is just ridiculous. And the great thing about this news piece, when I saw it, it actually showed a couple of videos of kids falling in the hallways at school, supposedly just from losing their, balance or something from wearing Crocs. And I don't know if it's because they're too soft, the Crocs, not the kids, or perhaps because the Crocs are so soft, it's making the kids soft and they don't know how to stand up on their own two damn feet.
They can barely tie their own shoelaces. I mean,
well, they don't need to if they got Crocs.
Well, that's part of the problem. Like obviously I have friends who have kids, and one of the things they all talk about, and it's funny, is what slobs this generation is. I mean, it's like they literally, one of the parents is like, I've just finally given up. It's like, fine, you want to wear the same sweatshirt 5 days in a row? Go ahead. It's whatever. And shoelaces untied. It's why they like Crocs. Is it's just they're lazy. They're too lazy to tie their shoes.
You and I are Gen X.
Uh-huh.
Did our boomer parents look at us the same way that parents today look at Gen Z, like that lazy, that sloppy, wearing the same hoodie 5 days in a row, wearing Crocs because tying shoes takes too much effort?
What we didn't, the only thing in my childhood that you could avoid, you could wear without tying, were either penny loafers or you had the Velcro shoes came out at some point.
Yeah, and the Velcro shoes were great up to a certain age, because once everyone else started tying their shoes, if you were still wearing Velcro, you were called the R word.
Yeah.
And so you made sure that you went home and you said, someone teach me how to tie some shoes, because my friends are saying I'm supposed to ride the short bus from now on because I don't know how to tie my shoes. Tying your shoes was, an important step of getting older.
And honestly, if at a certain point, although there technically were no dress codes, if I had worn the same thing to school a couple days in a row, I feel fairly confident I would have been sent home to change clothes.
Yeah. Sent home to change clothes. The teachers or something might have wondered if something was wrong if I was wearing the same clothes multiple days in a row. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I learned how to tie my shoes. But I still made my sister, and this is the 80s. I still asked for my sister's help in tight rolling my jeans. She was just much, much better at it than I was.
I can't even give you shit on. God.
That is a hell of a moment of authenticity from Trey right there inside the treehouse.
You're in the treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Man, we got some potty mouths today.
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Did you know that you can get even more Treehouse? It's true. Subscribe to Treehouse Plus. Bonus content, subscriber-only episodes, including video, all available at patreon.com/treehouseonair. Also, uncensored episodes of the Treehouse are inside Treehouse Plus. You can subscribe today, patreon.com/treehouseonair. All right, we're even for today. I had one. You've got one, Trey. But before you got derailed by your own accidental swear word there, did someone tight roll your jeans for you back in the 80s, or were you good enough to do it yourself?
I did it. I had no one to do it for me. I did it myself, but it was never that perfect tight roll that some guys had. And a lot of them, it's the same thing as you, their sisters would do them.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an art form.
And I knew how to do it. I still know how to do it. I don't do it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know what it is. You roll, you fold, and you roll some more. You tuck it in, right? But mine always came undone. So on days that I wanted or that I needed the tight roll jeans, I'd go to my sister's bedroom and I say, "Hey, I need you to hook me up."
And that was
and then they would stay locked in that position all damn day, even through recess.
And that was just one of those things. You were always jealous of the guy. I mean, that was one of the things. The cool guys, man, their rolls never came undone. They were always tight and perfect. It was a pisser. I'm glad this generation doesn't have to go through that.
I wonder if there's any correlation to how good my sister was at tight rolling jeans and the fact that she never got pregnant as a teenager.
I'll let you ponder that.
I mean, even though she was 6.5 years older than me, there were times when, she was like 13, 14. I wasn't sure if she was going to make it out of high school without having at least one kid. But good on her, she didn't. Including that guy with the Mazda RX-7. He never. Well,
there was a hot
car in '87, man.
Yeah.
A gold Mazda RX-7.
Ooh, gold.
Yeah.
Well, good on your sister.
I agree. She didn't have her first kid until she was 19, but at least she was out of high school. All right, something completely different here. We were talking about schools banning Crocs because they're too dangerous. Kids can't walk in them very well, or if they're doing some sort of athletic endeavor, whether it's recess or gym, or there's an active shooter, they don't like the idea of kids wearing Crocs because they have a tendency to fall down. Something else about this generation that we've made fun of a lot, and it's not just us, this happens online a lot too, it's playgrounds. Playgrounds of the 21st century are so much softer and cushioned compared to the ones that we grew up with, right?
Yeah.
This is truly fascinating to me about, Trey, that in that comedy special you and I love, one of our favorite comedians is Eddie Izzard. And in that special, Dressed to Kill, he talks about, being from Europe. We don't have an understanding of that or an appreciation of that in America the same way Europeans do, because they have centuries of conflict and war and battles and architecture and buildings, all that stuff around them. We don't have as much of that in the United States. The history happened over there. So much so that recently in the UK, when they went to go build a new playground, during the survey process, they uncovered a bunch of unexploded World War II bombs underneath an existing playground. An existing playground was built on top of a World War II armory. And they just recently discovered it because they wanted to redo the old playground and make it into a newer, softer, kinder, gentler playground. And now I have an all new appreciation for the playgrounds that our boomer parents played on.
I don't think they were playing on any unexploded ordnances.
Not knowingly.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were like, yeah, it's probably fine. Just put a playground there. Anyone think to look beneath the surface just to see what's down there? It's fine. They'll be fine.
I mean, that is one of the advantages of not having fought a war on our own continent.
Uh-huh. It really is. Over 160 unexploded bombs from World War II were found under a children's playground in the United Kingdom. It happened when officials were conducting a survey of the play area to see if there were any more ordnances still buried after one was discovered back in mid-January. That was during expansion work on the playground. So they found one because they're trying to expand a current playground and said, maybe we should look around and see if there's any more. And they found like 160 more of these things.
This reminds me of another of a related topic, and this may be a dividing line in our ages, in that I'm 5 years older than you. Did you do the nuclear bomb drills when you were in elementary school?
I don't think so.
Okay,
we never. I don't remember ever doing those.
I think I was about the last of that age where we had to hide under. It was the same. Basically, nuclear bomb and tornado drills were the same thing. You hid under the desk.
Tornado drills, absolutely, did those a lot. They always took us out into the hallway,
right?
And you kneeled in front of the lockers, down on the ground.
You had two versions of it. If there wasn't time, you got under the desk, or then you would try to orderly get into the hallway, away from glass, everything else. But I've often wondered, it's like, if there's a nuclear bomb, hiding under a desk is going to do what?
Yeah. Hiding under a desk, kneeling in front of a locker. That's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Why? What they needed to do was prepare me for real emergencies, like that time that Andrew came out of the boys' bathroom stall with his pants around his ankles and his butt covered in bobo. That's what they needed to prepare me for. That's when I wish I had a desk to climb under. I still remember that. 5 years old, and I still remember that kid's bobo-covered backside.
So that's where the trauma began.
That's where the trauma began. Absolutely. It was soon after I started running headfirst into playground equipment. It's all Andrew's fault.
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
It is time to advertise right here inside the Treehouse. If you would like to inquire about sponsorship opportunities here on the show, shoot us an email, treehouseonair@gmail.com. That's treehouseonair@gmail.com to advertise right here inside the Treehouse. Dan O'Malley and Trey Trinholm with you today on Monday, February 17th, 2025. Trey, have you ever seen the TV show Naked and Afraid?
No, I am familiar with it. I think I've seen a promo or two, but no.
I've seen maybe a couple of episodes, nothing recent, but I've seen a couple of episodes because I was curious about it when it first came out. But like you, I've seen a number of promos for it over the years, and they have. And if you're not familiar with Naked and Afraid, it's exactly as it sounds. Discovery Channel will take two strangers, throw them in the middle of, say, the woods somewhere, naked, and they have to survive together for a certain amount of time, living off the land and depending on one another. That's the entire premise of the show. And I guess after a while, it gets sort of blasé. It's like, okay, you're naked and afraid. We get it. So you have to up the stakes, right? So the Discovery Channel has recently taken Naked and Afraid to the next level. As if Naked and Afraid wasn't bad enough. Now A new contestant on Naked and Afraid on a new episode is going to be the first double amputee to be featured on Naked and Afraid. So being naked and afraid is no longer interesting enough of a show. Now you got to throw amputees in there to kick it up a notch to get people to tune in. The 18th season of Naked and Afraid will feature the show's first double amputee. Her name is Mandy. She lost her legs a decade ago in a devastating and tragic accident. In a preview for the new season, she says, 10 years ago, my life was changed forever. I've died 3 times and came back from that. And she added, I get to be the first person on Naked and Afraid with no effing legs. And I think that's pretty damn cool. And in the promo, it shows her, I think she had done skydiving with no legs. She had done some other adventurous things with no legs. And she's got prosthetic legs.
Okay.
But when they take her to the drop-off location for Naked and Afraid, she's in the bed of a pickup truck, and she's got her, as Forrest Gump would say, her magic legs. But then they take those from her, and then they dump her in the woods. And then she sort of scoots off on both hands into the woods, naked and afraid. That look on your face is pure evil, Trey. Say it. You say what's in your heart and on your mind, Trey.
Well, without her magic legs, that naked part, your nakedness is really close to the ground, and it seems like that would be another obstacle to overcome.
Yes, I would agree. And I've often wondered on Naked and Afraid, are they not allowed to go, the Adam and Eve route and grab some leaves and cover themselves up if they feel like they want to? Or do they have to stay naked the entire time? Because you're right, Trey. Forget about being vulnerable and exposed. I get the metaphor, for being naked on the show. I get that. But in real life, if you got no legs and you look like a really large snail scooting through the forest, I would want some type of protection there, because you're right. That's not safe. I mean, things, could go where they're not supposed to go. And then you're naked and afraid and have a really bad infection.
Or poison ivy.
Mm-hmm. Or when you're asleep, something thinks that's a cave.
Yeah.
Look, that's all I'm saying. It's like I said, maybe it's my ignorance showing because I haven't seen enough episodes. But if I'm doing the show Naked and Afraid, actually, you know what? Forget that. Forget the show. If I am somehow stranded in the middle of nowhere and I'm naked, I'm going to try to find something to cover up, because I don't want things crawling into my crevices.
God bless him because I feel quite certain if I was a double amputee, I would just be like, all right, life's over. Screw it. But that just seems like a lot.
I'll say this.
Who's the heartless SOB that has a double amputee and goes, oh yeah, here you go. Well, I got your legs. and then tosses them out. I mean,
you're right. Who's in charge of casting for Naked and Afraid, thinking, you know what? The network has said we need to go bigger and better. We're losing viewers. We had to do something to attract more attention. I have an idea. Let me go look around for people that I otherwise would ignore and say, you need to be naked and afraid. And then they say yes. And no, you can't take your legs with you.
Yeah.
Because that would be an unfair advantage. I will say this, though. She is absolutely gung-ho. She lost her legs, but she has the zest for life that a lot of people that have experienced death or near death have. She doesn't take, sorry for the pun, but even though she lost her legs, she's not taking life lying down. She's hobbling towards it full speed ahead. If I was doing the Naked and Afraid show, she would be a partner I would actually want, not because of her physical limitations, but because she's going to have a severe spirit to try to survive, because she's already survived everything up to this point. Now's not the time she's going to give up.
Okay.
I mean, her with no legs is better than a lot of people I've seen with two.
But that's...
I mean, sure, she can't reach stuff, but you know, you know she's going to have good stories for the campfire.
There's so many jokes, and I'm truly trying.
Why are you on such good behavior today?
I mean, you know, something's coming at you. You can roll her at whatever, and you know, try to. It's like bowling.
Like if a bear comes.
Yeah.
All right, I take it back. Keep all your inside thoughts inside your head.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
If you like the Treehouse Show, then you will love us on social media. So give us a follow at Treehouse On Air across all social media platforms. Once again, that's at Treehouse On Air to find and follow us on social media. I'm Dan, along with Trey, inside the Treehouse with you. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. Let's celebrate with some birthdays. Ed Sheeran turns 34 today. Some of his biggest hits, Shape of You, Perfect, and Thinking Out Loud. Based on my Christmas music listening this past Christmas season, he also has one of the few new Christmas songs that I actually like. It's a duet he did with Elton John. What's this song? It's called Merry Christmas. Oh, there you go. Merry Christmas by Ed Sheeran and Elton John. If you're looking to add to your Christmas hits for next year, or you're a sociopath that listens to Christmas music in February, you're welcome. That's one of the few modern Christmas songs I actually like. Most of the new ones are that.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was listening to somebody who was talking about how, like, almost every artist, if they get to a certain level, they put out a Christmas album.
Mm-hmm.
But so few. I mean, really, Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas" is the newest of what they were calling the Christmas standards.
Yeah,
because you've got a bunch of old ones that we just all grew up with and are just assumed that that's just part of the Christmas music library. But you don't hear there's not that many great new ones.
There aren't. And to me, twofold. You're right, Trey. It seems like so many artists will eventually do a Christmas album. Once they reach a certain level, they feel like, okay, now I'm big enough to do a Christmas album, right? And the smart play is to just put your own twist on all the Christmas classics that everybody knows and loves. And if you're brave, you try to create one yourself and see if it lands. But it's probably not going to. It's easier these days to go viral for something than it is to have the new Christmas favorite song.
Well,
that's why it was such a big thing for me to mention this one with Ed Sheeran and Elton John, because it's one of the few new Christmas songs is like, hey, I actually kind of like that. Most of the other attempts, bleh.
Well, it was also back in the day when you people put out records and you bought records and not downloads. It was a money grab, because if you were hot at the time, then you were going to sell, an extra 500,000 albums of your Christmas song. So,
yeah, I really, and I granted my brain's not in the Christmas season. So it's harder for me to tap into those information stores, as limited as they may be. Outside of Mariah Carey's song, and this one by Ed Sheeran, I can't really think of any new Christmas songs. Not really any that I like, but really just any new Christmas songs, because I feel like most of the ones I've heard have just been cover songs by current artists.
No, a very hard genre to break into with something new that people like.
Yeah. So Ed Sheeran celebrating his 34th birthday today. And Christmas music aside, super talented
Yes.
little ginger. That guy's really good. Other birthdays today. She played Ginny Weasley in the Harry Potter movies. Bonnie Wright also turns 34. Joseph Gordon-Levitt turns 44. He's Arthur in Inception. Tommy Solomon on Third Rock from the Sun. That was the kid. John Blake in The Dark Knight Rises. Edward Snowden, and he's also Jiminy Cricket in last year's Pinocchio. Fantastic actor. One of those child actors that leapt into adulthood without any major issues or drug or alcohol problems that we've heard of, which seems to be in the minority in Hollywood, where a child star makes it to adulthood in one piece. He seems to have done it. There's another movie, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, Trey. It's fantastic. It's called Looper. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a younger version of a character played by Bruce Willis. That's a good movie. The movie is based on a character. It's a guy that goes back in time and executes people for time traveling and trying to reset the course of history kind of stuff. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a younger version of Bruce Willis in that. Really, really good movie. So add that to your list, Looper. And I don't mean that in my normal, like, American Ninja 5 tongue-in-cheek type movies. Looper's actually really
this
good.
one, it has a 93% Rotten Tomatoes, so all right.
Yep. Very good movie. Other birthdays today. Paris Hilton, she's 44 as well, worth $300 million on her own, thanks to the Hilton family. And she has, I don't know if it's the honor of being one of the first celebrity sex tape people.
Was she first, or was Kardashian first?
I'm pretty sure Paris Hilton was first.
Yeah, I think so too.
But we have Paris Hilton to blame for Kim Kardashian, because if you go back and look at Paris Hilton on her reality show, Kim Kardashian was her friend / assistant.
Yep. Actually, we have the Mama Kardashian to blame.
She's ultimately to blame, but Paris Hilton had some assistants in there.
Yeah.
Jason Ritter is 45. He is the son of actor John Ritter. He's been on a number of shows himself. Comedy Central is another period. He was Jeb Bush in W. ABC's Kevin Probably Saves the World. Pretty fine actor in his own right. Rory Kinnear turns 47 from Penny Dreadful, and he was also M's chief of staff, Bill Tanner, in the newer Bond movie, Skyfall Inspector. Okay. Jerry O'Connell is 51 today. Another child star. He was in Stand By Me, but then he was also in Jerry Maguire, Kangaroo Jack. But as we all know, and everyone's going to say this who tells you it's Jerry O'Connell's 51st birthday today, his greatest accomplishment is being married to Rebecca Romijn.
Yes.
He had the courage to come after John Stamos. I mean, that's some swag.
Indeed.
I wouldn't have that level of confidence.
No.
But I mean, I'd be giddy as hell if Rebecca Romijn was like, "Hey, Dan," I'd be like, well, "Hi," but then the reality of it would be like, "There's no way I can follow John Stamos. I can't follow Uncle Jesse. That's impossible."
Obviously, he has a far bigger ego than we do.
Well, he grew up in Hollywood, so I mean, he's used to confidence. Yeah, from Green Day, Billie Joe Armstrong is 53, turning 54 today. Denise Richards.
Wow, I haven't heard about her in a long time.
It's been a minute since you've heard about Denise Richards.
I feel like when last time I heard about her was in the Charlie Sheen crap.
I'm with you. That's the occasional blurb, but still most of it was related to the Charlie Sheen fallout and their divorce. And we'll do two more here. Michael Bay, famed Hollywood director, is 60. Did Transformers, did the Bad Boys movies, including the most recent one that I watched. But he also did some really, really good ones like The Rock. Oh, so good. Love The Rock. And in case you've forgotten, got his start directing Victoria's Secret commercials. So he had a pretty solid come up.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player to ever live, is 62 today.
Wow.
Yeah. Michael Jordan, 62 years old. And he's worth $2.2 billion.
And he still makes hundreds of millions of Nike every year.
Yeah. Off of regular shoes, not Crocs. Although if they had some Jumpman Crocs, I'd probably buy them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Air Crocs.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Do you need to tell us something? Go to treehouseonair.com, click on the microphone icon in the lower right-hand corner, and leave us a message. It's Treehouse Talkback right here inside the Treehouse. Talk back to the Treehouse today at treehouseonair.com and click on that little microphone lower right-hand corner, and you can leave us a message that we may share right here inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trinholm. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. One last little bit of information to tell you about here inside the Treehouse today. There's one more story that I did not see that happened during the Super Bowl that I want to share with you now. A woman's Super Bowl story is going viral, and it's interesting to see where people fall on this special situation. We've all been there when a couple is fighting, and it's extremely awkward. And some of the best advice I've heard when you see a couple fighting is to what? Don't get in the middle of it, right? Well, today inside the Treehouse, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to play verses inside the Treehouse. We're going to go against conventional wisdom that tells us to stay out of a couple fighting. And instead, we're going to choose sides. Here's the situation, Trey. This woman says her boyfriend had some buddies over for the big game, and he did not buy enough beer. So he asked her to run to the store to get some more beer. She said she wasn't into the Super Bowl herself, but she also doesn't like being treated like a waitress, so she refused. And that's when she says that he flipped out. They argued, and she got so mad that she turned off the TV. The boyfriend eventually did the beer run himself, but he would not talk to her for the rest of the night, even after his friends left. So now the woman has gone online to ask if she overreacted. And I say, let's choose. Whose side are you on in the great beer run debate? Are you on the side of the boyfriend or the girlfriend? Trey, welcome to Versus.
Huh.
Yeah. Super Bowl. The boyfriend runs out of beer with his buddies. He asks the girlfriend, hey, would you be a dear and go get us some more beer? She says no, because she doesn't like being treated like a waitress. He eventually goes, gets the beer, and doesn't talk to her for the rest of the night. Who overreacted, Trey? Whose side are you on? The boyfriend or the girlfriend?
I'm gonna.
It's tough, I know.
I know it's tough. I'm gonna go with the girlfriend.
Ooh, that's interesting. Don't know why I hit the bell there, but that's where I fall on this, honestly. Because my thinking is, if I'm the one that invited my buddies over and I went and bought beer, but I didn't buy enough, I should be the one to go get it. I wouldn't even have asked her hey, will you go get some? Especially since the game was not a good game anyway. Just go to the store, do the beer run. You can listen to the game on the radio, and then you come back home. No big deal. It was my fault. I'm not going to ask her to correct my mistake. Now, I would certainly appreciate it if when I say I didn't get enough beer, I'm going to go get some. I would sure love it if she said, no. You have your friends here. You stay. I'll go because I'm not really watching the game anyway. That would be thumbs up in my book. But she didn't do that.
I was just going with, her role is in the kitchen and asking her to get out of there.
You can't ask her to do a beer run when she's in charge of sandwiches?
Sandwiches, yeah. and that's the whole driving thing.
Oh, that hurt my ribs. That is Trey Trenholm, ladies and gentlemen. All right, for all things Treehouse, go to treehouseonair.com. Be sure to find and follow us on social media at Treehouse On Air for the show. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. And if you want to give Mr. Trey Trenholm a piece of your mind, ladies, at Trey Trenholm 1.
Love recipes.
Oh, God. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow inside the Treehouse.